Okay, so this is the Kid'sBox structure. You can see here, I will just stress some differences between each level. For example, you can see in beginners, one unit just divide into 3 lessons only. But for starters, movers, and flyers, they have 4 lessons in one unit. And each unit will practice in main skill. For example, lesson 1 is listening, lesson 2 is speaking, lesson 3 is reading, and lesson 4 is writing for starter, mover, and flyers. But for beginners, they just have 3 lessons only, and about lesson 3 will combine the skill reading and writing at one. Because if they are beginners, they don't have like any basic or any tradition in English, so the lesson structure will be like shorter. Similar to the reviewing unit, you can see here for starter, move, and fire, they have 2 lessons of reviewing, but for beginners, they just have 1 lesson only, and they will practice 4 skills at the same time. All right. And about the midterm test and final test, you can see here, beginners will not have their review lesson before they go to the test. They just go straight to the test. Uh, But for starters, modifiers, they have one review unit, I'm sorry, one review lesson before they go to the test. Okay, so I will talk more about the test flow because it's like the biggest difference between Kid'sBox and SpeakUp. For example, in SpeakUp, we will take the employment test in trial class, right? And we have to assess them for skills in trial class. But for Kid'sBox, they already take the employment test before they go to the trial class, which is the welcome lesson. So in the welcome lesson, the teacher just need to test their the speaking skill only, and except for beginners because they are like uh, newbie, they don't know anything about English, so you don't need to test beginners skill. Just give their comment only. But so this is all the things that you have to do after class. After class, you have to give the comment about based on their learning attitude and how well they understand the lesson. And finally is the speaking skill. Both comment and score based on the available skill, except for beginners. Okay, so can you see this is the speaking structure, the structure? About the format test, each test will contain 10 questions, and the total score is 10, which means that one a question will stand for 1 point. And this is the assessing way. For example, with the beginner's level, you don't need to give the score, only just give comment. And for starter, movers, and flyers, you have to give the score and comment as well based on the available criteria. For example, here is the speaking assessment skills for starters, for example. So you can see here there are 3 categories. The first one is vocabulary and grammar. The second is pronunciation, and the third one is interaction, for example. And it is divided into 3 levels from 1 to 25, for example. And you will like range them depends on their level, it depends on their answer. Okay. And similar, we have the speaking criteria for movers. And this is for, I'm sorry, flyer as well, but I think there's some mistake here. I will like provide it later. Okay, so now we'll open it on class in so you can easier to understand. Do you see my class in? The screen that I am showing right now. Hello, do you see my screen?
Yes, miss.
Yes.
Yes, okay. So after I adding your uh, classroom account, you can access to the Kid'sBox. For example, we still go to authorize and click on speak up, and we choose the Kid'sBox one. Okay. Um, Here you can see that we already divided into four levels. From starters, beginner is the first one, starters, movers, and the final is flyers, movers and flyers. Okay, so I'm gonna turn on the welcome lesson or beginners. For example, this is the welcome lesson. You can see here in the end of the list. Okay, so when you access the folder, you can see everything will be here from the flying, from the audio or video. We have lesson plan also here, and the song, for example, everything will be here. So it will not take time to look for curriculum as before. You just need to go straight to the lesson and read the lesson plan, and everything will be here. Okay, so please zoom in the case that it's too small to read because I cannot address this bigger. Uh, okay, okay. So this is a lesson plan, and this is the slide that we teach. For example, that day we have the welcome lesson for beginners, for example. So you can see here the lesson plan was designed follow to the teaching method, and it also have 7 steps. You can see from analysis to expand, for example, extend is the final one. Okay, so at the analysis stage, you will see the teacher had to introduce themselves. So we would do it here, get to know each other. For example, teacher had to introduce name, full name, country, or references, for example. And teacher had to instruct the students, say hello, and teacher ask students name, for example. We would do it all here, okay? Get to know each other first. And then go to next slide. We will have their online classroom rules, which means that we have to introduce them about their rules in class. Be on time, be prepared, turn on camera, do not eat, for example, because they are new, right? Whenever you come to their welcome lesson, they are very new student. Excuse me for a bit. Yes. Sorry for what you wait. Okay. We are start at online custom rules, right? So in the next step, we're gonna guide the student how to do all the chores here because they are new, right? Whenever you come to the welcome lesson, they are new and they don't know how to use all the tools here. So you have to guide them. And then when they go to speaking test, they will know how to do all of this thing. Okay. And about the next step, you will see it is engage. And in this step, you have to introduce the topic of lesson. So, for example, here we're gonna have the lesson objectives and as well as the table of contents. You will introduce, for example, today we're gonna learn about the number from 1 to 6 and ask and answer about name and age, for example. This is what we're gonna do in engaging part. Okay. So when you move to the vocabulary, the table of contents, you will see two parts. The first part is vocabulary and the second part is speaking. So remember, when you come to the welcome lesson and whenever you go to the speaking part, you will assess them, the speaking skill here. From this part, you will gonna assess them. Okay? So I will move to the speaking part because vocabulary is like a normal lesson. You have to read the lesson plan first and then go through all of these things. And we go to the speaking part and we're gonna assess them here. Okay. All right. For example, uh, it will be all here. For example, you can see listening, sing is activity one. For example, play the song Sick Little Ducks. Little Ducks. I think it's not okay. Oh man, what happened? This is for example. Sorry, skill. Speaking skill is here. But remember one thing, with the beginners level, we don't need to assess their speaking skill because they are new. They don't know anything about English. So you just need to give them comment based on their attitude and based on how well they understand the lesson only. You don't need to give any score or comment about the speaking for beginners only. Remember that? And unlike in the speak up course, you have to wrap up by yourself, right? But here you're gonna have the summary part. So you just need to like read the lesson plan first, and then everything will be here, and you don't need to like take time to look for the information. Okay, I will open the welcome lesson for starter because from starter level, we still have to accept their speaking skill. For example, this is starter level. And we will open the welcome lesson here. We also have the slide and the lesson plan. Okay, same, same as a beginners. But with the beginner, we don't need to accept the speaking skill. Okay. So in this level, we still have seven stage, seven stages for each lesson, right? The first is greeting. Also here, get to know each other. Teacher will ask some personal question like, what's your name? How old are you? Are you happy? For example, we will do it here. And next, we still introduce the online classroom rules and guide the student how to do our tours here. Okay. Similar, we are gonna introduce them the lesson objectives as we do in the engage part. Welcome and introduce the unit introduction. For example, the title and content and the topic of the lesson. How to introduce yourself, ask and answer about each, understand and see the numbers from 1 to 10, and name the family member of the star family. Okay, so move to the next part. We have the table of contents, and here we can see that the table of contents divided into three parts. The first part is vocabulary, the second is speaking, and the last is summary. Okay, so whenever we go to the speaking part, we're gonna have the speaking question for them. Okay, so I would just like pass the vocabulary one because this is just like a normal lesson as we usually teach in speak up. So for speaking part from here, we're gonna test them. Okay, so I will move to the, for example, here's a stick which called evaluating, which will contain the speaking test. and you just need to move a bit in the right side. You can see here is the task one from question 1 to 3 to question 10, for example. Okay, I will just go like one by one so you easier to understand. This is just like the beginning of the task, like ask the question and repeat what's your name, how old are you, for example. And from here, from let's talk, we're gonna test them. We're gonna test them from here. Okay, so the question 1 to 2, from 1 to 2 is the spell the words and draw the lines, for example. So the student have to spell the words here are tigers and tomatoes, for example, and they have to draw the lines correctly. And then you will give the student score based on their answers, right? And this slide will contain two questions, two first questions. Next one is the line number 2 will contain the question from 3 to 6. When you turn to this line, you will ask, what color is this? What is your favorite color? And what is your favorite animal? Okay, so in the case that you cannot remember all the questions, you just need to look up the small blue lines over there, like in the left corner of the slide. Do you see it? Teacher from the student to look at the picture and answer the teacher's question, like what is this, what color is this, what is your favorite color and animal, for example. So this is like the suggestion just in case that you cannot remember everything. So you just need to look up at this blue lines over there and you will like remember everything. Okay. And to the next line, we're gonna have like the question from 7 to 10. And in this slide, you have to do what? You have to circle the chair. For example, the chair, the red chair right here. And you have to circle it and ask the student, like, what is this? And ask how many chairs are there in the room? And what is the man doing here? Okay, and tell me about the boat, what is color and why is this, for example, here is, if it's too small to see, I will like zoom in. For example, this is the boat, for example. Okay, so it's for the welcome lesson, it's like a trial class, like a normal trial class, but inside we're gonna test them about the speaking skill. Okay, so after you finish the welcome lesson, what you have to do? You have to open the speaking criteria. Do you see the speaking criteria over here? Everybody? Do you see it? Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so remember one thing, in the final lesson plan we contain two speeches. The first speech is lesson plan and the second page is is the speaking criteria. And you just need to click on it and it will turn to the page number 2. For example, I will click it and it will turn to the different page and contain the speaking assessment skill here for starters. And you can see three categories that we have to base on and give the student score. For example, is here. All right. Uh, Now can you provide me your cousin account so I can edit, so I can add your teaching material? Can I, can anyone give me their cousin account so I can add you right now, and can you share to everyone? Hello. Okay. Can anyone can share your screen and open the classroom so I can guide you like carefully to how reach the teaching material as well as the like, the way you open their slide. Please, anyone? Okay, just give me the classing accounts first so I can add our teaching material right now. Can you hear me? Yeah. Can you give me the classing account from the chat box so I can add you on the system?
Cái phẩy của em có ý cái tại vào bên này.
Em cho chị xin cái bình nước. Ừ, cảm ơn em. Guys, you need to tie down your classing account because after the training, will not have like anyone to add your teaching material anymore. Okay, thank you. I will see one here is Jill. Let me add this right now. This box authorized. Done. Okay. Who else? Just only Jill.
Cái chị như qua bạn nào mà em là cái gì nhỉ? Đúng không nhỉ? Bạn nào nhờ link cái gì ấy không nhớ. Tổng hợp file cái gì ấy. Em không nhớ đâu. Cái nào
Okay,
tìm nó không
next
đủ nữa.
one
Tức
is
là thành phố bạn như này.
ramen.
Hình như một bên kia. Hình như
Ramen. Okay. Ramen is done. You can access your teaching material right now. Okay. All right. Next one is S. Okay. Kid'sBox authorized. Okay. We're done with Loisa, Roslyn, Roslyn. Okay, Roslyn is ready. Okay. Irish is done. The next one is Mary. Yes, Mary is here. Okay. Jan 2. Jade. Jade. Okay, you guys can log into your account and see your teaching material right now because I already did it. And Jill, can you please help me to share the screen and open the classroom account?
Uh, Maria, wait. I am using my phone. I am using my
Your original phone. How about Raymond? Can you help me?
Sure, ma'am. Should I just share my screen and open class in?
Yes, thank you. Okay, thank you. Just go to Drive and all right, and authorize. You can see Kid'sBox there. Yes. Can you open the Wacom lesson or movers, please? Is there a Wacom lesson? No, you just pass it. The Wacom lesson. Yes. Okay. Can you open the lesson plan and the slide in the same time and divide it into like two parts so everyone can see it like at the same time? Yes. Thank you. Okay. All right. All right. Can you move to the next slide, please? Okay. As similar to the Wacom lesson or movers and starter, we also have the part is greeting, right? So we're gonna introduce like the students and teacher in here in the first slide, and go to the next part. Uh, can you move to the next slide, please? Okay, so now we're gonna introduce the online custom rules here, and because they are new, right? So you have to introduce them everything, like from online custom rules as the you have to guide them how to use all the tools. For example, can you move to the next slide? Okay, so here we're gonna guide them how to use all of this thing from select and move, circle, match, for example, tick and cross, how to like use all the tools here. Because later when they come to the test, they will not be like so struggle to do other things. Okay, and next one is the lesson objective, right? This is what we're gonna do in the engaging part because we're gonna introduce the lesson objectives. For example, today we're gonna learn how to ask and answer about name, spelling, and age, for example. Can you move to the next one, please? Thank you. So in the table of contents, you can see like all the parts that we have to go through today. And especially in the speaking part, you will
Không cần phải lấy ở đâu
assess
nữa đúng không?
them the speaking skill, for example.
Không.
Can you just move to the speaking part, please? Yeah, thank you. Just go straight
Không thì
to
ngồi
the
bình thường
speaking
thì
part
một tí rồi cho đỡ để đi mất
because
nhiều.
other part is just like a normal lesson. So from here, we're gonna like test them about the speaking skill. Okay. About the, can you go back to the lesson plan and move to the evaluating part?
Cái này thì vẫn như cũ à? Đúng không?
Yeah, it's
Còn
down
đấy
there.
thì prepare.
Evaluating, yeah, it's over here. So move
Không.
a bit, yes. From activity 5, let's talk. You're gonna see 10 questions that you have to ask the student, and you will based on 10 questions to assess them their speaking skill. And after you finish seeing their work-home lesson, you will go to the speaking criteria to give them the score based on their available skill. Can you turn to the speaking criteria? Do you remember? In the lesson plan, we continue. No. You had to come back to lesson plan, please. Yes, and yes, that is the second page. We're gonna have the speaking criteria here. Can you move a bit about the right side? Okay. Yeah. You're gonna move here and you will see the speaking assessment skills here. And based on these three categories, you will give the student score from 1 to 0.25. Depends on their answers. And in the end, you're gonna count the total number, the total score for student,
Em bảo bên em chụp tên
and
người.
give the score on acuity.
Không cần lắm.
Okay. So from now, do you have any question about like how can you approach the
Sau đời các bạn em rảnh lắm.
how can you approach the teaching material, or do you have any like question about the new product?
Một không có đâu. Không KPI luôn. Có deadline luôn. Lương thì có
Please,
đúng không?
yes, please feel
Đa số
free
mọi
to
người
ask
có
me.
KPI. Làm việc cũng áp lực. Áp lực deadline thôi. Deadline nhiều quá thôi.
Okay, I will add you now. Okay, already added. You can see the Kid'sBox book right now when you go to the class in. Okay. Okay. So, if there are no question anymore, I will turn to the part is coming on acuity. Is that all right?
Um, Miss Chloe, I just have one quick question.
Yes.
So basically, when we use the new material, in terms of the notes that we apply on equity, the only difference is we apply points on speaking, on the speaking part, but the rest is pretty much the same.
Yes.
Did I understand that correctly?
Yes. Exactly. And because in Kid'sBox we already test them three skill like reading, listening, and writing already before they go to the trial class. So you just need to assess them the speaking skill only, except for beginners.
All right, thank you, thank you.
Okay. All right, and I'm gonna share my screen and guide you how to give the comment on the activity because we have like different skill, right? In Speak Up, the maximum point for XQ is 5 only, but for Kid'sBox is 10 for speaking skill. So how gonna we do that? Okay. All right. For example, here is our trial class for Kid'sBox. Remember one thing, for Speak Up, we call it trial class, but for Kid'sBox, it is welcome lesson. It's not trial class. All right. So when you come down here, we also have the listening, speaking, writing, vocabulary, and other skills as well. But just please ignore other skills. Just focus on the speaking comment only. Okay. All right. For example, when you click on the speaking score, you just see the maximum score is 5, right? But if what if the student get a 7 out of 10? What we gonna do? Okay, so you're gonna write like this. For example, 7 dash 10, and then you will get the comment for speaking skill. The student spoke blah blah blah. For example, this is how you gonna give the score as well as the comment for speaking skill with speaker. No, I'm sorry, well, with this box. Okay, so other skills, just ignore them because they already tested. Okay, and for the comment for student, as what I said before, we have to give the comment for student based on their attitude, like learning attitude and how well they understand the lesson here, for example. And everything else is give the same, like background noise or support by others. It's still the same, except for the speaking comment only. Okay. All right. For now, do we have any question?
Ma'am, I have
Yes.
a quick question again. Like in situations like, let's say if we are in the middle of, or we're nearing at the end of the lesson, and we're in the middle of the speaking part of the test, and
Mhm.
should we evaluate it from that part? I mean, from the last part, or is it should we continue it on to our next class, since we haven't really asked all the questions that's provided on the file.
You mean that you don't finish the lesson or what?
Yes, we're in the middle of in on the speaking class, and the lesson is about to finish. Should we just base our evaluation on the current score, even though we haven't asked all the questions to the student?
Yeah. For the welcome lesson, the main point of that lesson is to assess them the speaking skill. So if you feel, or you can see that maybe this lesson will not be like able to finish, you will just move to the speaking part and like ask them the question first, because that is like more important than like other content. So you can move to the speaking task first, and then go
Oh,
back
okay.
and yeah, and complete other part if you have time, for example.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Do you have any question about like give the comment on acuity, because it's very different from the speak up. We have different skills, and like the way we give the comment is also different. Okay, so in the beginning of the new book, when you receive the new book and you teach, if you have any concern or any questions, you can like inbox me, and I will support you as much as I can. All right. Uh, you should like add my contact in case you have like any question about new book, so I can guide you like carefully. All right. Okay.
And ma'am, and to confirm, the new lesson or the new material that we will be using, this will be effective after the 15th of May.
Yes, after 15 May. And with the old student, if they are in doing like the old book, they will finish the old book first, and then they will transfer to the new book.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I already added anyone to the to the new book, so you can access them now. Just like inform me in case that you can now see it on class in, so I can check and fix it for you. Okay. All right. If you don't have any question, wait. I have to. Mhm. Okay. Okay. Spark, authorize, and go. All right. You have that right now. Okay. So, if you don't have any questions, I will end the meeting from now. And in the future, if you have like any concern, please contact me. Okay. Yeah.
All right, ma'am.
This
Thank you.
meeting is recorded. Okay. Don't worry. You can look back whenever you want. Okay. All right. Thanks, everyone. Thank you for spending time today. Have a nice
Thank you,
day.
Mom. Have a
Thank you,
nice
Thank
day.
Thank you,
ma'am.
you.
You too.
Chloe.
Have a
Have a
nice
great
day.
day. Bye bye.
Have a great day.